goofy for
One.
some reason. Hello, 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 and welcome tonight to another episode here of Talking Hoops with the entire crew. Starting to my left, it is Coach Johnson. Coach Johnson, how are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. Below Coach Johnson, what we found out this evening now is the MVP. It is Coach Mack. Coach Mack, how are you?
I am wonderful since my aces won.
Hence why it is the MVP. And just to the right of Coach Mack, right below me is Ron Briscoe. Let's see, we got Around the World, Mr. Celebrity, Mr. Basketball. What else can we get for? Oh, I forgot.
That's enough. That's enough. Just call me Ron, man. Let's go.
Well, I was going to go with Uncle Briscoe with a text message that we had from yesterday, but
That's why I stopped because I knew where you was going.
but it's right. Nonetheless, we are here on Sports Radio 102.9 FM. The Game. You guys, if you haven't downloaded the apps, you can go right to broadstsouth.com, go right down to the middle of the page, and you'll be able to download the app that way. Also, there's a new update coming. As soon as the update is done, I will inform you what it is. It is a good update, and so the app will look a little bit differently. You guys may have to re-download the new one in case they couldn't get the old one fired up the way it should be. But I will make sure that everyone is informed so you can see exactly what's going on and the newest update that's coming up here on the station. Also, you can hear us over on AMP Radio and, of course, on YouTube if you guys have liked and subscribed to the page, and we hope that you do so you don't miss another episode. And if you no longer see us over on Facebook, well, we're here, and the web player is also on the website so you guys don't miss a thing. And, of course, if you want to make your live comments, you can go ahead and right on the bar on broadstreetsouth.com, just insert where it says live comments here, tap on that, and you'll be able to make the comments. So many different ways you can interact here with the show. And the phone line, I had it around here somewhere because I don't have it completely memorized yet, but it is 727-868, or excuse me, 858-6650, 727-858-6650. You guys can also call into the station. And speaking of, starting next week, going Monday through Friday with Martinez and Company over on the Tony Bruno Sports Network. So if you guys want to get more entertainment, you can do it on the Tony Bruno Sports Network. So you can go over there and watch myself and Ryan on Martinez and Company from 6 to 8. And then all these shows that follow it will still continue to run. So basically, my 24 hours turns into 28 hours, but it's okay because I love what I do. That's just the way it works. But we do have with us this evening Coach Fernandez, and what an amazing person to speak with. And Coach had a lot of great insights. He talked about if it was time to hang up, when he knew it was going to be time for him to hang up. A lot of great questions as far as what he believes for the season. And it's not like other coaches where some coaches will kind of give you like, so yeah, we're going to win. That's what we do. And we're going to play well. The insights that you will hear from Coach, it resonates really well because you get to hear from a different perspective. And that's one thing I will say I completely respected about him. And not only that, the time they ended up taking earlier today to record with us, because tonight he's actually at a venue in Tampa as they're doing kind of the kickoff party to the basketball season. So, and I believe there was 100 invites. Ron and I think we're 101, 102, so we just missed it just by that. We missed that.
I told you to get it in early, Angel. We would have been.
I tried, but it wasn't early enough. So
I see that. But hey, we here.
That we definitely are. So we're going to have the interview coming up here momentarily with Coach. Also, the Las Vegas Aces, which looked like they weren't going to pull off the win, but did it even being well injured, if I remember correctly. So the Aces, and of course, we're going to get it from Coach and Coach Unscripted. That's going to be a lot of fun to listen to that because you already know now, since we have the MVP in the house, we went from Coach back to MVP.
Yes.
Now it's a whole different story. But again, ladies, it's tough. You win one, you hope you win two. To go back to back, and again, in any major league professional sport, is so hard to do. But the Aces got the job done.
Yes, I forgot my cape. That's what I'm missing. Forgot my cape. That's okay. I'll find it.
but you got a handful of aces though, girl.
Yes.
Right.
A handful of aces.
Yes. It was such a gritty game too.
It
Oh.
was. It was.
Yeah. So we'll get into that. We also get into if you guys can see, I swapped hats out here for the 76ers and not for James Harden because apparently he still cannot figure out what he wants to do. I think the Sixers at this point are getting ready maybe to shop around. Although Ron does have an update for us here a little bit later on, so we'll talk about that. The season that's already started. Denver got their rings last night and maybe a little extra. And then the rest of the NBA teams are kicking off as well. Obviously, Sixers are starting off. So I'm dying to see what the NBA season is going to bring. Obviously, with a lot of teams mixing it up, different faces in different places. And then you have Jimmy Buckets. The whole hair thing, I'm still trying to figure that one out. I don't get it.
He's
What?
expressing himself through his hair, is what he said.
He is
Right.
such a troll. That is the best way to put it. He gets an enjoyment out of that, and I think it's always fun to have a little bit of humor, right?
It is.
Especially when
Yes.
everything always feels so serious.
It's a good thing you ladies can tell us how that is because I don't have any hair to talk about how it would feel to express it myself that way. So you guys can tell me what Jimmy's going through.
I just what I enjoy about Jimmy is Jimmy's Jimmy, right? No matter where he goes, he's got to be himself. It's just when he first came on the camera, the look that he had, and then he brought the hair like down from one eye, and then just the mannerisms, like it just he knows how to sell stuff, and I think that's one thing I miss him. Being in Philly, I wish he could have stayed there. It would have been so much fun. We probably would have been closer to a championship, but I just like that he's honest. And a lot of times he's brutally honest. Some people don't like it, but that's the way you should be. And I think that's what everybody really, really admires about Jimmy Buckets. And of course, he keeps pursuing Joel Embiid. So I might have to go down to Miami, which is only about 5 hours away from here, and talk to Jimmy and say, "Listen, slow down. All right, let's get rid of Harden first, and we'll talk. Maybe we can bring you back up instead of keeping you in Miami." So, and a lot of NBA talk. Obviously, the women's and men's basketball NCAA season kicks off here
Mhm.
soon. So
Yes.
On the
that's gonna be
horizon.
fun. And I think, listen, the beginning part of the NCAA I really enjoy because obviously the mini tournaments, the mini games they end up having, obviously leading into the regular season. And I think it's just the passion from the players. It's a lot better than the NBA because obviously they know what the ultimate goal is to go out there and play for the NBA, play for the WNBA. And speaking of Coach Fernandez had let us know that he had two players. He's had four, but he had two players last year that he lost to the WNBA draft, and he'll talk about that as well. But that's got to be. Matter of fact, both coaches here. I'll start with Coach Mack. Coach Mack, when you coach and when you have a player, and whether they went to the NBA, WNBA, if they went transfer to another college or another high school, what's that say about you? How you feel that someone said this coach is doing something right because look at this athlete and where they're going.
Yeah, I think a lot of that will have to do with the relationship as a whole. And I mean, like from a player perspective, obviously from the coach's perspective, you obviously want to see that player do well. And you also want to make sure that that player matures because even though some may have the talent, they may not be mature enough to handle what's ahead. And I've, had some players to actually be able to go overseas, and which I'm extremely proud of because I got a chance to watch them grow. And that's the beauty of coaching is to be able to see your players grow. Um, I mean, I think it's a great feeling. I understand the position that the players themselves are in because I once too was a player. I once too had the opportunity to go overseas, chose not to for personal reasons. But again, it's the journey that's mostly important and the things that they go through throughout that journey, which is one of the things that matters to me the most. Now, some coaches may feel a little bit different. It just depends. Some coaches like, hey, I don't want you to leave because they're more concerned about the program and their longevity as far as them being a coach and their season and stuff like that because they feel like if this particular player stays, they have a better chance of winning each year. So it just really depends on again the relationship as a whole.
All right. Coach Johnson.
Yes, and I do have to agree with Coach Mack. But again, I know, like you said, Coach Mack, they're focused on their success of the program and focused on winning. However, when you are a coach, you are so much more than just a coach,
Mhm.
especially the relationship that you create with that player. And from a college perspective, you play a pivotal role. I think coaches kind of sometimes can underestimate the role they play in players' lives, as these are young adults who are transitioning into adulthood. And so there's so many life lessons to be learned. And if your reason and your why is to create better human beings that were with you from the start and when they leave your program, then, then that might look a little different in terms of how you feel about them moving on and moving into the next phase that they feel is best for them. Yes, winning is your livelihood as a coach. However, I think it's also more to it than just that.
Yeah, I like how you always end up using like the why because as much as you two ladies say it all the time, I always forget that, and then I hear it once in a while. I was like, oh yeah, they always mention like their why, which is true
Mhm.
because that's what you have to figure out. And you hear on shows too sometimes on reality TV when they talk about what's your worth, what's your why, and I
Mhm.
think a lot of times me included in many conversations that you tend to forget. And I don't know if it's just one of those things that we don't think about it too much until you bring it up and then oh yeah, that's why. This is why I'm doing this, or this is why we do this. And
Mhm.
that is a bigger purpose that you got to figure out, okay, if I'm on the right track, how am I going to stay on that right track? Or if I'm off my game a little bit, what do I do? And obviously reaching out to the coaches is I hope the first thing you end up doing before you go back to go back home and ask your boys exactly what's going on because what they're going to tell you for the most part, man, your game's all right. You don't know what your coaches are. Don't worry about coach. You keep doing you. And then obviously, if you go that route, you already know what the outcome is going to be. It's going to be that you're off your game, and then coach is going to tell you, "Listen, I need you to play left bench. Don't forget about stop playing guard. Right? That's the deal." So, and with that being said, we're going to get into the interview because I know a lot of people tuned in tonight for the interview with Coach Jose Fernandez again from USF women's basketball team. So a great conversation with him, and it is coming up now. Welcome everyone to the segment with and the pleasure also of having Coach Jose Fernandez with us from the USF Bulls, the women's basketball coach, also the two-time American Athletic Coach of the Year in 2018, 2021. Just got your extension, also USF coach. So I want to say congratulations with the extension. Also coming off of the Latin History Month, Hispanic Heritage Month, depending on how people end up wording it, but it's rare to have a Hispanic coach in basketball that we haven't seen in many years. But coach, your resume, first of all, is completely outstanding. You and your ladies, 11 times you guys have gone into the postseason and have had major success. So I want to know, other than obviously, how do you cram it all in? Because I know there's a lot to balance, and it's great as far as working with the women, but how have you been able to do it? And I don't want to say if there's a secret to it, and if there is, I'm pretty sure other people want to learn.
Well, Angel, you're shorting us here because we've gone to postseason play 18 of the last 23 years, and one of those years was COVID. We would have gone that. So I would say only 4 of those years we didn't go to postseason. 9 NCAA tournaments, and that 2009 team won the WNIT national championship. I think when you take over a program, I think it's really easy to turn a program around, right? Get those guys to play for you. You didn't choose the people that you inherited. You chose them. And when uh, sustaining is the toughest part, and we've been able to sustain because I've had incredible staffs over the years. Um, 6 or 7 former assistant coaches or head coaches now. So I've had unbelievable people work for us. Um, I've had the pleasure of managers and male practice players move up through our staff. Um, and it starts with the people I think you're surrounded that I've been able to surround myself with, and I think the biggest thing is recruiting to your system, right? Because I right now, our culture is very good because we've been successful and we've won, and the older guys have taken ownership of that. And when people arrive here, whether they're junior college transfers, guys off the portal, or freshmen, the locker room's taken care of because they really, hey, this is how we do things here. This is not how we do things here. So when players can take care of that, you got a good thing going.
Well, it is amazing because you can see the culture being here locally myself in Tampa, and you can see what USF. I think for the college itself, very professional. A lot of the students' body that, and I've seen it over at the football games as well, hold themselves, I think, to a bigger standard. And I think that's because you see it from the athletic side of the house, how the men and women handle themselves, how they approach the game, how much obviously they pay attention to the coaches, the system, how everything works. So a lot of that comes obviously from you guys, from the coaching staff. But it's, to me, it's more, I guess it resonates more when you're dealing with men and women. It's completely different. With women, we have two coaches that are with us on the show here, and they always talk about the WNBA, which I know you also have had success with some of your players that have moved on to the WNBA. But you women have the tendency to adhere more, I guess, to listen more, if I'm saying it correctly, and have that approach where they have more, to where they look more for that conservative effort, like that instructional, I guess, institution from the coach to make them better, more successful players. So the difference between the men and women, is there much, or is it pretty much the same as just the athlete within themselves and how much they want to achieve?
Angel, I started on the men's side, and I don't coach women any differently. I treat them as high level athletes. I don't think now they're different. Within the game, our game's played below the rim. So I think strategically, player development wise, structurally, um, different shot clock. The game's totally different than the men's side, right? But as far as the way that I demand and coach, why should it be any different than coaching men or women? We have had a lot of draft picks. Last year, I've had 19 former players playing at the highest level overseas. So a lot of people talk about coaching men and coaching women differently. Uh, I think there could be some communication and emotional and side of things differently, but uh, we've been very fortunate to recruit at the highest level, and we treat them as high level athletes. So as far as pushing them and coaching them, it wouldn't be any differently if I was coaching a men's team right now.
Right, coach. And then the success that you just talked about, some of your players going overseas, the success that you have where your athletes come back and obviously thank you for the career that you've helped them to achieve to that next level. Is it gratifying as a coach? And it may sound silly asking this question, but it's very gratifying to know that even if, let's just say, your players don't make the NBA, but they made that transition to their next career platform. Is it very gratifying for you as a coach knowing that you had a part of their life where you made them successful as well?
Well, every coach has what's important to them, right? For me, and every coach around the country, over 360 Division I schools, both on the men's and women's side, right? From a administration standpoint, right? We're judged on wins and losses. How our kids do in the community, how well they do in the classroom. So there's a lot of really good basketball coaches that are unemployed right now because they haven't won. The most gratifying thing for me is when you recruit a kid for 2-3 years, they arrive to campus, and you see them grow as a person over 4 years, and then hopefully we've done an incredible job relationship wise to prepare them for the real world. And our job, there's only there's only 36 kids that get taken every year to the WNBA draft, right?
Right.
Every kid on my team has aspirations to play professionally. So maybe one, maybe two can position themselves to get drafted or go into free agent. It's very difficult for a kid coming out of college to make a WNBA roster. But if they have aspirations to play professionally, there's so many things: the Euro Cup, Euro League, play basketball as much as you can to see the world and to continue playing. But hopefully, we've done an incredible job at our place where when basketball ends, whatever career field, that they know how to communicate. They have great organizational skills. They have great time management skills. They're able to manage up. They're able to deal with coworkers. They have incredible drive. And hopefully they wake up at a place where they enjoy coming to work every day. Because if you don't do that, you got to find something else to do.
Yeah.
Along with that, there's going to be good days. There's going to be bad days. But guess what, man? Hey, when you leave, you got to pay for rent. You got to pay for your car. You got to feed your family. So everything that you've learned in college, guess what, man? You got to wake up, whether you feel good or you feel bad. You got to ring the bell and go take care of business. Whether you're playing basketball or you're going to work for somebody, because you know there's a really small percent. Everybody in the future, right? Unless you own your own business and you're your own boss, you're going to have to deal with people telling you what to do and
Right.
being able to work with people, right? And having that work ethic and that drive and being a good teammate in whatever you do.
No, there was a point you brought up in that conversation. I'm glad how you pretty much laid yourself over into that one, because you have a quote, or at least I'm going to take a quote from when you stated was, if I ever stop waking up without the same fire and energy, I'll be done. And I think for me, I always say to the guys and girls that are here on the network that once this stops being fun, I'm done. That's it as well, because it's not the same feeling. When you wake up in the morning, you want to have the same energy. You want to have the same drive. You want to have the same feeling you've had for many years. So I enjoy your quote here, but has it gotten to that point yet? Obviously it hasn't, because you have your extension. You have a very successful career. But when do you feel, if anything, in the near future, that you say, you know what, maybe I'll either move on to something else, not ending the energy, maybe move it on to something else?
Well, I have a great competitive drive, right? I'm responsible for 15 student athletes and probably another 15, 20 people that surround my program, right? So if we don't win, those 15, 20 people are probably going to be out of a job. Those 15 student athletes are going to have a new head coach.
Right.
So uh, we're supported here at USF um, like a top 25 program. And like any program, I know we're not in a BCS, Power 5, Football 5 conference. We're supported like a top 25 program in everything that we do. We play in a great arena. We got a practice facility. We fly private everywhere we go. We stay in great hotels. We eat wherever we want. We got a nutritionist, right? Our guys get cost of attendance, collective money, Alston Award money. So there's not a need or a want for anything that we have. But um, yeah, I was very thankful for another 2 years. I had 4 years left. Um, but I'm 51. How long am I going to do it? I don't know. My wife spends a lot of money, so I probably got to keep doing this um, for now. Yeah, but hey, I enjoy every day what I do, and when the hopefully I'll know when it's time, right?
Right.
Um, and sometimes guys don't realize when it's time. Um, when I took 9 international flights since April, right? When I don't want to get on a plane and go recruit somebody, I know it's time, right? When I don't stay up all night and watch every possession of the basketball game, I know it's time. When I choose not to be involved in every individual workout, I know it's time. But that ain't going to get to that till I decide when it's time.
No, great points. And see, now that makes me want to come over and play for you, Coach. But again, I'm 2 years older than you are, so I'm pretty sure my playing days are way over. But I'm gonna heat the floor there over to Mr. Briscoe. Ron.
Well, Coach, hey, congratulations on that contract extension. You really have got the Lady Bulls playing very, very well. What does it look like coming up this season? Because tip-off time is just right around the corner. What do you have to look forward to with your team and players?
Well, we got a lot of questions to be answered, right? We lost two kids that went in the WNBA draft. One to the Mystics, one to the Storm. So, two seniors went in the draft. We got to replace those guys.
Mm-hmm.
But rewind a year before, we lost 4 starters and we went 15-1.
Wow.
So I think it's more plug and play with us. We got some guys that now have to become feature guys. Can they handle that role? We got some freshman kids that are really, really talented. Can they come in and do what we recruited them to do? And we got some transfer guys that we're going to have to rely on, and they're going to have to play major minutes for us to be successful.
Coach, when you talk about this coming season, who are you going to say put your hat on as far as that player that's going to be the one that you're going to say, hey, you are a leader. We need you to go out there and get it done, and the supporting cast.
Well, we returned 3 starters, right? We got our point guard back. We got our backup point guard back. We got a kid that hit 110 threes last year, and she has a year that she's supposed to have. She'll go in the draft. She's one of the top 20 shooting guards in the country. Who's going to be that other wing? Is it going to be Maria Alvarez? It's, was 6th man of the year, has always come off the bench for us. Now she's in a different role. We got another talented kid in Romy Levy, transfer from Auburn, 6'2", 6'3" wing. We won't have to have her play minutes and be good for us. The really talented freshman that played in the Canary Islands and has played with young, older guys all her life. She has a chance of probably being the best freshman in our league and play a lot of minutes. We return our starting 4 and our backup 4. Not the 5 that's going to be collective, right? We brought in a kid that started 3 years at Cal at the center spot, Emma Johansson that backed up Dulcie, and a junior college All-American. So how are we going to replace Dulcie? I think it's going to have to be those 3 guys there at the 5 spot.
Coach, from what I'm hearing, it looks like you guys are going to be pretty well set. When you talk about your team and the rest of the team that you have to play against in the conference, how do y'all stack up?
Well, we talk about the process every day. We don't talk about winning a conference championship. We don't talk about, the conference tournament, the NCAA tournament. We got a blank banner, which Doc Rivers, I got that when, Celtics, they put a blank banner all the
Mm-hmm.
time. And we can control what that banner says at the end of the year. If we attack every day with incredible work, enthusiasm, and if you do that every day and have great process throughout the year, the end result will take care of itself. So that's what we talk about, right? Really, really good teams don't have a bad day
Mm-hmm.
of practice. Number one, if you have a shitty first day of practice, you better be worried, right? Because everybody's
Mm-hmm.
excited to practice and get on the floor. It's how you have that same energy and effort and drive and teamwork and enthusiasm in practice 10, 20, 52, 84, 107. If you do that, then you're sticking to that whole process, the whole team. Now, going said that, when you have a player led team and you win in the locker room first, and they all can coach each other and hold each other accountable, it makes our job a lot easier. You know, our program and the way I coach these guys, I coach them as pros. I tell them, hey man, when you leave here and you're gonna go play basketball or you're gonna work, if you don't do, it's simple. Bill Belichick said it all the time. Do your job. If
Mm-hmm.
everybody does their job, you got a really good team, right? If you go out in the workforce, right, when whatever you choose to do, you don't do your job, you're gonna get fired. You go play for a pro team, and you're 2 weeks in, and you're 10 for 52 and can't guard anybody, right? Or you're not on time, you're gonna be sent home on a plane,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody's coming on the plane the other way to replace you. So, so that's our conversations.
Coach, it looks like your team is going to be a team that's going to be a team that other teams are going to try to knock off. May it be in the conference, or may it be a non-schedule type team plan. What team on your non-conference schedule are you looking for to say, hey, this is going to be a dogfight when we go out there and play them?
We're picked to win the league. I think we're gonna get everybody's best punch night in, night out. Right? We won 15-1 in the league. We got knocked off for the first time in 9 years in the conference tournament in the first round. We've always played in the championship game or the semifinal game leading to the championship game. So uh, I don't I don't want to come out and say one team's better than the other, because um, we hey, we prepare for every opponent on our schedule the same way.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Coach, talking about the new NIL, the transfer portal. How do, your opinion? How do you like it? Do you like it like what they're talking about now that you're really not recruiting? I don't know. I mean, it may be different on the men's level than the women's level, but you're not recruiting a lot of freshmen. You're getting there's a lot of older players that you're recruiting because of the transfer portal. Give, give me your opinion and
I
give the
think when you
listeners your
I
opinion
think
of that.
I think when you go in the portal, maybe it's just based on need. We're going to continue to recruit really high level freshmen now with the NIL, right, and the collective. Kids have good years. Um, you got to be able to take care of them collective wise and provide opportunities to them, because there's a lot of recruiting going out there with this collective deal. I don't think when the collective was brought up, they thought about the ramifications of what um, the collective was brought, right? What
Mm-hmm.
kids are getting and how they're getting the pay to play model and all that stuff. Because let me tell you right now, uh, the one thing people don't talk about at all, student athletes um, at every institution around the country, right? A regular admit has to meet certain GPAs and test
Mm-hmm.
scores. If you're a student athlete, you have a special talent. So you can get into a school because of your special talent. That's not brought up in regards to how kids are getting into school, right? Because there's you have a special talent. Now admission standards are a little different, right? And a lot of people around the country talk about, student athletes ain't getting enough. Well, they get their school paid for, books, housing, counseling, nutrition, all the gear they want, staying at 5-star hotels, the best
Mm-hmm.
restaurants, flying private. I could go on and on. Laptops, iPads, and then above that, they're getting cost of attendance, which at most institutions is probably between 5,500 and 6,000.
Mm-hmm.
Summer cost of attendance another 3,000. Alston money another 6. Christmas money, spring break money. So above and beyond their scholarship, they're getting probably $17,000, $18,000 that they can put in their bank account. Now you're not even talking about what they're going to get NIL wise. So when they go into the real world, what's going to happen? What's going to happen? Are we preparing these guys for life after the college experience? They're going to have to go get a job.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not going to be handed $17,000, $18,000 for free. right?
Right. Right.
So,
Mhm.
um, and that's why it's been now it's an arms race, and I know it's trickling down to women's basketball, and you see it more in football and men's basketball with the recruiting piece and the collectives being involved. But
Mhm.
student athletes, they're getting very, very well taken care of,
Mhm.
So,
at least at our place.
Coach, one last question here because I know you gave us a couple minutes here to be with us tonight, and we do appreciate it before the season kicks off. But and again, great point that Ron brought up and you brought up as well is I think there's not enough for the student athlete to, I guess, maybe to be educated to say, okay, as you said, they're given $17,000 to $18,000. Then they go off into the real world, and whether they go into the WNBA and or with the NIL deal, maybe they go overseas because they make a lot more money. Do you as a coach and your staff, do you guys try to do as much you can to educate the ladies saying, hey, if you take, X amount of money here and try to invest it or at least be smart with your money, do you guys try to instill that so therefore they're not being set up for their own personal failure?
And we have an unbelievable program. Uh, it's called Enhancing You and the Selman Mentoring Institute.
Mhm.
And everybody knows Leroy Selman's name and the Leroy Selman family.
Yes.
So, in regards to portfolios, resumes, having a mentor for 4 years, right? Investments, that program is amazing, right? Because we want to guide them and set them up for life after basketball. But our job is we bring in so many people at our program to speak to our student athletes, right? In regards to media training, communicating, interviews, media training, motivation. You want to be a pro. This is how you get here. So we have an unbelievable program in regards to helping me understand my players better and them understanding our coaching staff, right? And how to coach them and how to talk to them and how do they communicate with each other. So I think it's all about resources and the amount of things that you can provide to your student athletes throughout the college experience with our program and also our athletic department, right? And we're not even talking about the giving back piece and the
Mhm.
community service and engaging the Tampa Bay community.
That's amazing.
Mhm.
Boy, things that you learn that you probably don't hear, every single day. But it's good that you guys are doing that for the ladies because again, it's tough. I mean, when you're young, everybody knows it. You're young, you see a bunch of money. First thing you want to do, you want to blow it because you're young. The concept isn't what am I doing when I'm 40, 50, 60? It's like, nope, you know what? I got it now. I'm going to spend it now. And we've seen a lot of specials with guys that were in, they played on the West Coast. Some guys got Blazers, some guys got all kinds of different stuff, but they blew their money. And then they look back at it and they say, what happened? You did it. But we don't hear too many universities, too many colleges talk about that we set you up for success rather than setting you up for
Mhm.
failure. And we hope that no one ever gets set up for failure, but it's amazing what you guys do. So, Coach, listen, we appreciate the time that you awarded us this evening. We hope that you have a very successful season this upcoming season. And we will continue to progress to see what goes on. And hopefully, if you have time, I know you got a super busy schedule. Maybe we can have you back on like middle part of the season. And we can see where you guys stand at.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. No problem. And
Hey, good luck, Coach.
Thank you, guys.
all right. And we will continue the show here right after this. All right. It's amazing to me, but and I learned so much between Coach earlier today, and as he talked about the program and how much they offer. Because again, and Ron, I could be wrong as well, but it's nice to see a university that actually sets you up from beginning to end for success. And he talked about that some players, they're basically they have talent, they're in
Mhm.
versus they have standards as far as the grades, academics, where they have to be. And then the surprising thing to me, listen, I think maybe when we went to high school, they must have gave us like fruity pebbles and something else for compensation because at this point, like 17, $18,000. Like I couldn't imagine being an athlete and being handed that money. Then he talked about like, for the stand-in time, the play time. There's all these different incentives for these guys and girls to be able to make money while they're playing for universities. Don't get me wrong, at the same time too, obviously universities make a lot of money, but it was nice to hear coach talk about how they set them up. And basically, you fail yourself. At least I think at USF, you would fail yourself and not be able to take advantage of all the opportunities that are being presented to you. So I like to get your thoughts, coach, as far as from what he had stated and his perspective as far as what he feels like, and then with him saying well he's not ready to hang it up yet, but all the points because I've never been to a point where I've asked a coach when do you think it's time for you to hang it up, and to get his real raw reaction of how he talked about it, it was amazing to me. So, Coach Johnson, I'll start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought that that was a great analogy that he made about when he feels like it's time to hang it up. Because coaching takes so much out of you. There's so much commitment, and the passion has to be there in order to really advance your team forward, right? So I think that his transparency and his honesty about when he knows that it's time to hang it up, I'm sure that information is probably valuable and will go a long way for people who are coaching and kind of teetering that line of is it my time, when do I know it's time, and those points that he made are very valid in regards to the level of commitment that you have to have in order to have a successful program. But speaking to how their university sets their student athletes up, I think it's also another thing to consider that they would be considered a major Division I university.
Mhm.
Hmm.
A mid-major and smaller D1s might not have that same luxury, right? I went to a mid-major D1. We didn't fly first class. We flew Southwest with the general population, and these opportunities, that they're staying at five-star hotels and things like that. So that, yes, that pertains to their university, but not all universities are set up that way. And it just circles me back to when we had Mark on the show, and he was just saying the opportunities that his company helps to create for student athletes who maybe don't go to those big time schools and don't have that big time name, but they're still able to make money. Um, but definitely having those resources goes a long way. Especially, half of these kids don't even have their own bank accounts by the time they get to college. They're still on the bank account with mom, and so it's really a big transition, but being able to have those resources to provide that financial literacy, especially now the way that college basketball is moving, the money opportunities are going to continue to grow. And I think it is crucial to make financial literacy a part of that and really set these young adults up for the real world.
Yep. Coach Mack.
Man, so like there's a whole lot to say about what he said is coaching players, and T, like you literally hit it on the nail when it comes to depending on the level that you're on, it makes a huge difference. Because let's think about your Division III players who don't have athletic scholarships. They're having to travel by bus. Who wants to
Mhm.
travel by bus? So, and then the little bit of money that they may get, and let's say probably like $30 a day, and that's just for food.
Hmm.
So, depending on the level that you're on, you may not have that privilege of being able to fly first class. You might just be living in the hood, driving the bus to wherever you need to go. Maybe 8 hours, 12 hours, who knows? But I mean, that's a great thing that some athletes get to experience that, and that's why they always talk about, there's only about 1% that actually makes it to these particular levels. So
Mhm.
there's a lot that really goes within that, and then that also plays a factor in, how much money that particular program brings in.
Hmm.
Um, so that is it's a whole lot. And as far as him talking about coaching, being passionate about it, I'm glad that he said that because you do still have some coaches that just hang on,
Hmm.
and they don't want to give it up mainly because they really don't know what to do after the fact, which is sad because here you are trying to preach to your athletes, what are you going to do after college, but you have coaches, what are you going to do after retirement? So it's really no different of a situation. Um, but I'm glad that they do have programs set up for their athletes. Unfortunately, again, all programs don't have that privilege because you do have some, athletes specifically on the male side is where you mostly see a lot of them that don't graduate on time. And when they finally do graduate, it's like, what do I do with my life? So although you may have majored in something, you still don't have a plan. And so
Mhm.
it's like, how do you really set your athlete up for success? You just bring them here just to be an athlete and not really necessarily a student. So how do you prepare them for their real world? I'm really glad that they do have that program. I wish that's something that they would implement in all colleges and not just some. Because you can't just rely on what you majored in and then expect to just get a job after college. Because the reality is, you may not even get a job in whatever you major in. I know I'm somebody who has
Right.
not. Well, nope, I take that back. I used it briefly when I coached. However, what my actual occupation is in is nowhere near what I got a major in, but I have a
Mhm.
degree. So it's like, how do you prepare your athletes for after the fact?
Wow. That's all good valid points you guys bring up, and I understand where coach was coming from because you have to understand whenever you interview a coach, he's going to have to add some recruiting type promotions into his speech. So he's kind of doing a little bit recruiting, promoting about what his program has, and this is the program and what it's like, and this is what we do. So he's sending out some messages to recruits that are listening to
Clearly.
the
Some
yeah clearly
subliminals.
right listening to the podcast. He's hey, let me send this out, so you never know who's listening or what mom or dad or whoever go back and go like, hey, they fired first class, they
Mhm.
like this. So the little recruit never hurts in the promotion of an interview, but still the programs are excellent programs. Many schools have the programs, and he just wanted to share that formula with what he has going on. And I'm pretty sure that if we interviewed several more coaches, they would give us a insight into their programs and what they have going on and how they mentor their student athletes and have a game plan. So when they hit the door, what needs to be done. I know Kentucky must have a heck of a program because they have one and dones all the time. So most of the guys are going to the NBA, and some of them may go there 1 or 2 years and go back and get their degree, and hopefully.
Well, Ron froze up for a second. Hopefully he'll unfreeze. See, he was on a roll. We have to get Ron a first class video performance, and then we're not worried about him freezing up again. But Ron, if you can hear us, just exit out your screen, and hopefully he'll come right back. But no, it just I was amazed just when he started talking about first class. I'm like, what? I don't
Yeah, no.
Man, did I miss out on life? I know listen, I was a nerd all my life. I continue to be a nerd, but mostly when I was in school, I think if I wanted to throw bricks up, maybe they want to take out the wagon instead of the first class because it's amazing to me. Like all again, these are all opportunities. And T, you know this. We hear it in the TV all the time. They people allow you an opportunity, and it's up to you to make the most of it. And
Right.
Coach Mac, you talked about as well when Kim said the degrees. There's a lot of people these days, a whole lot that do have their degrees, but do with what they majored in is not what they're working
Hmm.
with that degree.
Yeah.
So it's tough because there are a lot of people, obviously well educated folks, and they want that degree. They were able. Some people it was the first time anybody in their family was able to walk across that stage, minus high school, but then obviously in college as well. So it was amazing to me with the interview, and I think more is that he was almost ready to just say, all right, listen, interview's over, I'm ready to get back on the court, just because the way he was just talking about certain things and how he wanted it. Like he flew obviously internationally, comes back, he's in that game room. But that's what you want to hear from a coach. I think the worst thing that someone could say is like, oh, yeah, I bring the kids. Hey, look, here's the kids. There, kids, go play. And at the end of the day, here's your participation trophy. Thanks for playing. All right, you guys, see you later. We'll see you next season. You want that coach is obviously going to believe in the men and women that they're coaching. And I also like how he said that he doesn't treat the women any different than the men. He's going to coach them the same exact way. And that's one part that I wanted to hear because, again, I don't know many coaches, many male coaches that coach women. We see it from UConn and the success
Hmm.
they've had year in and year out. But it's different when you have someone local here and how they talk about how they run the program. I just thought it was really interesting. So thanks once again to Coach Hernandez for excuse me, for taking the time out and coming on with us. It was a lot of fun. We enjoyed it, and I can't wait to cover the team here this season for the 2023-24 season. So that should be a lot of fun. But so getting to the coach and coach unscripted moment, as we know, the Aces took care of business. And
Yes.
my question to both coaches: is there a dynasty building? And I will start with Coach Mack.
Looks that way. So next year, I'm expecting it to be. Yeah, I'll go ahead and call this now. So I expect for them to at
Oh,
least
she's
be.
saying 3P?
I'm saying three-peat, and this is why.
Oh.
Candace Parker will be coming back. So you pretty much have the same team coming back, and you adding Candace Parker to it. I'm saying three-peat now.
Okay, okay.
You know,
Now, quick question, Coach
go
Matt,
ahead,
really
go
quick.
ahead.
When is the WNBA Warriors team supposed to be starting up?
I think that's 25.
Okay, so we have another season in between that.
There you go.
Okay. I was just gonna say
Yeah.
that might change the three-peat.
Oh,
They were to
Nope.
start in the upcoming
Nope.
season because I'm sure, as you can imagine, they would have the cash flow to really convince some players
Yes.
to possibly move over and kind of build a new team with pieces from every team.
Oh,
So,
absolutely.
but if they have another season in between, then the Aces might be safe for right
Yeah,
now.
I think so. One player that I would love to see that's kind of floating around, I wouldn't necessarily say floating around, but she's taking some time off, is Skylar Diggins. There's a whole situation with her being with Phoenix Mercury. Loved me some Skylar Diggs. I've been watching her since
Mhm.
she was at Notre Dame. Like, I mean, and her team was that team in the finals that beat UConn. I'm a
Yeah.
huge UConn fan. Cannot wait to watch them play. So definitely, I hope they do consider, Skylar. I think that that will probably truly make it a super team since that's the word that's floating around with the Aces right now. Are they a super team? Call it what you may. They've been together for quite a while. So I mean, they built that chemistry. They deserve to have this title that they won. So I don't see why most people would actually just want to try to throw that out there as if, they just randomly got some players last year and then all of a sudden they have this super team. No, it's much deeper than that. Teresa, what is not Teresa Weatherspoon, but yeah, Teaspoon. So she's going to Chicago. I think that's where she's going to be coaching
The
next
head
year.
coach.
Yep, head coach next year. I'm interested to see what that's going to be like, being that she's going to be in Chicago. So you got some pretty good players that's going to be there. So that's going to take her, I will give her about a good couple of years roughly to really turn that program around. So, yeah, I'm still going to stick with the Aces. I'm still going to call it a three-peat for right now. After next year, then I may question it.
okay.
Well, what about the MVP play in in the WNBA finals?
So, y'all know my feelings, my true feelings.
I want to hear your true feelings.
Let
my
the hair
true,
down, Coach Mac.
my
Don't
true
tell it.
feelings. As we all see, the real MVP got it in the end. Now, Stewie, I told y'all from the beginning, from probably our second podcast, Stewie is iffy. She may show up, she may not, and there you go.
Yeah, she
But
was iffy.
Asia showed up when she needed to show up, and that's what a most valuable player does, regardless of the situation. You show up, and not only that, considering that they were out two players. I mean, I think I knew it was going to be tough. I knew it was going to be like a nail biter. It was going to be a close
Hmm.
game, but I'm very, very proud to see how the game turned out. Although I will say, Vandersloot that shot at the end.
Ooh,
Now,
Mm.
I know that was so tough for her.
That got to be tough.
You were
And I was like,
oh,
ooh.
and this is not only that, but you know it's a shot that she has taken thousands of
Yes.
times, right? That you've practiced thousands of times, and to
Yes.
airball in such a big
Yes.
moment after you shot 50% for the game, that is
Uh,
going to take, I'm sure, some time for her to get over. And I always say the game should never come down to that, right? It should never come down to the last final shot, put all pressure put
hmm
on one person.
Yeah.
But a shot that you have hit, that you shoot regularly, and that you have shown that you can make at a high level, and to
Ooh.
have that type of shot, oh, I feel for her as a player. From a player's perspective, absolutely
Yes.
feel for her.
Well, I can tell you one thing. It was a competitive game. It came down to the end, and like you said, for her to take a shot like that, if she would have hit it, she would have been a hero. But she missed it, and of course, the Aces come out as the champions. So it was a great series.
I am a bit disappointed though with Stewie. I am
Mm.
disappointed. You know, she kind of gave me James Harden vibes in that game.
Yeah.
Oh,
And I only say that because one of the best seasons that James had, the game is on the line to advance to the finals when he was with Houston, and you set a new NBA record with 11 turnovers, right? I mean, you
Mm.
underperformed. Not only did you struggle, but you greatly underperformed. And here it is, the team is on your back, right? You know, you are the MVP of the league. As an MVP with the game win or lose on the line, to have a performance where you're 3 for 17. And granted, she was able to pull down 14 rebounds. So she was able to make up in areas where she wasn't getting it done offensively. But as the MVP, for that to be the closeout game, I mean, you would just expect a little bit more. Not saying it's not going to be everybody's night to shoot, but you
Mm-hmm.
find a way. When you play almost 40 minutes, you have to find a way. And three
Right.
for 17 is just that it's it's
Yeah.
it's tough. It's tough, and especially when you struggle throughout the playoffs. So just
Inconsistent
yeah,
the
it just
whole
showed a lot of
playoffs.
inconsistencies.
we need to
Well,
have Ron.
I was
Listen,
I was gonna say, well, the WNBA season finals is over with, and last night the Denver Nuggets came out and received their ring. Shaq
Yes.
and the gang gave out the ring. Charles Barkley and Kenny and Ernie. Well, gracious enough to give out the championship rings and pull up the banner, and then the L.A. Lakers came out and they didn't do anything. Anthony Davis was a dud last night, and I was disappointed in the Lakers. But the
Zero.
NBA season kicked off last night, and I saw where, like you said, Coach Johnson, my boy Chris Paul, just slowed down those
Yep.
Golden State Warriors.
He
What do you
does.
have to say
Yeah.
about that?
Yeah, he does. Offensively, he just does not move at the pace that they like to play at. And that's never been
Yep.
his offensive game, though. He's always moved at his pace, and which I think has been one of his strengths, is that he has
Mm-hmm.
the ability to control the pace of a game. But I don't know if that's a strength with the Warriors.
Hmm. Well, I know
Mm.
Devin Booker. He pitched in 35 points. He looked good. I really think that the trade that the Phoenix made for that big guy, Novik, he played very, very well last night.
Yes.
Kevin Durant did very, very well. But also going back to the Denver game when uh, when the Joker put on a show with a triple double, uh,
Yes.
where he left off at.
Yep. Speaking of that, it's funny how the Lakers was talking so much trash about meeting back up, but yet here we are, and what Anthony scored absolutely nothing the second half. So you doing all
Maybe,
this trash
maybe two
talk.
points. Maybe 2 points.
All
I
right,
No,
don't
it,
know.
y'all,
second.
hold on, go easy on my Lakers now. You know that's my team.
I'm
Oh
I'm
We
no.
just
gonna go
saying.
easy
If
on
I'm
us.
just
This is still
saying,
game
I'm
one.
just you.
I'm
Hey,
just saying,
you're a numbers person, right?
I'm
Numbers
just
didn't lie
saying.
last night.
I'm just saying, if you gonna talk the talk, make sure you do the walk now, because
No, I
you
get
you
it.
can't you can't be doing all this talking, and then when it comes for you to show up, you a no show.
I didn't think we were gonna keep AD, to be honest. I just knew at the end of last season, I'm like, send him off. I just knew we were.
Well, they should have did that. They should have did that because it looked like he was sent off last night from his performance. He
We're still
sure
waiting
didn't
on him
show
to show
up.
up. Yeah, he brought
Zero.
everything except his game last night. So,
Mhm.
17 the first half, absolutely nothing.
Oh,
Nothing the
ah,
second half. Like, how do you second half you supposed to come out better?
that's right.
How you do the complete opposite?
yeah.
I, know-
Nothing.
Now,
I
quick
wonder what
question.
LeBron said to him in the dressing room after the game.
Uh,
Yeah.
You're
And
paying for
now
dinner?
that they're decreasing his minutes and they're expecting the AD to be the player or the face of the Lakers, I wonder how long that's going to play out because I think they're reducing LeBron's minutes to like somewhere between 20 to 30 some minutes a game.
Right.
So, I
yeah,
mean, if you're expecting AD to be the face, do they really think that decreasing his minutes is going to last? I don't think so. Especially considering a franchise like the Lakers, that's a tough call, and
we
for
need
them to call it
somebody.
so early.
We need somebody else. I've been saying we needed somebody else last year. The Lakers just AD is not reliable enough.
You're
He's
right.
not.
You're right.
He's
You're right.
injury prone. Him and Joel Embiid remind me a lot of each other, except Joel has been performing. But in
Yeah.
terms of staying healthy and the impact that it has on their team when they go down, I mean,
Mm.
it's like we need a backup for AD, and we'll see how long
Well,
it is until LeBron turns into the GM and has to
like magic.
recruit new
It's gonna
talent.
be like magic. Well, speaking of backup, so that's the whole purpose of Christian Wood. So do you think Christian Wood would actually be a really good backup for AD?
Yeah, if they use him, but they didn't
That's
even
true.
use him. But
That's
they didn't
true.
use him. So I mean, go figure what these Lakers are going to be up to. Like you said, LeBron is the GM, and I guess he just didn't pull the string on Christian going in the game. So
I was a little upset this
me too.
offseason. I was a little annoyed about that this offseason. I'm like, hold on, AD signed a new deal.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, what for? That was the
Yeah,
same way.
that one definitely shocked me.
Could that have
Well,
been was it
go ahead,
LeBron
coach.
that possibly had maybe something to do with him hanging around? Because I would have thought LeBron too at the end of the season would have said, "Listen, nice playing with you, but I think it's time for you to just go ahead and move on to another organization." But yeah,
No,
I
it's
don't
time
get
for
it
him to
either
go
because
home. That's what it is. Time for him
right
to go
because
home.
LeBron is very boisterous. Obviously, we know this. From as a player perspective, very smart. There's reasons why he's been in the game for as long as he's been.
Hmm.
I would as much, and of course, I've teased LeBron as well. But at the same time, too, I would selfishly, I would like to see him as a head coach. So when he goes back and he says, all these things about the different coaches, he should have done this, he should have done that. But I know that's not where he wants to go, being a head coach. But I,
Hmm.
I am truly surprised that he didn't tell the Lakers organization, listen, I like playing with the guy, but now it's time to go. But in trade, not that I want AD, but you guys, we will give you James Harden, and you guys can just have him, and then
Oh.
We're good.
No,
Don't
no,
say that fast.
Yeah,
no.
we're
We're
good.
good. We're good. We're
We're
good.
doing better than that. I don't think
But
we're at that level of desperate yet. Not
but
yet.
he's a California guy.
And
Now the Clippers are questioning about taking it. Well, actually, I don't think the Clippers really are
They don't want him.
entertaining
Yeah,
him
they
coming.
don't want
They haven't said a complete no, but as far as the offer, them entertaining it, yeah, no, It's not
Him,
happening.
Kawhi, and PG as a combo, I
No,
just don't
it
think
won't
that
work.
that's really,
It's a headland wait to happen.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I am interested to see how Paul George does this season. After he got the nickname Pandemic P, after he was breaking it up in the bubble. I mean, I just feel like, has he recovered from that? I'm interested to see how they come out and perform this year, especially with Kawhi and the new load management rules, with how many games they can sit out, and what is that going to look like for the Clippers, who I felt like they sat out a lot of games last season.
Mm.
As we get into some bonus time, you bring up a good point, Coach Johnson. As far as Kawhi, do we believe? And again, one of those other surprising moves. But do we believe that he would stay there? Let's just say if the Clippers don't do anything whatsoever again this season, no run, no playoffs, end up less than 500. Do we believe that he would stay there, or it would be one of those things like, you know what, I'm coming in the back end of my career, I know this, and I've won one, I want to win another one before I'm done. So then does he start talking to the organization saying, listen, it's been nice, I really like it here, but so I'll start. Coach Mack, what do you think?
I don't think he's gonna stay, especially the way these players move. Like, they change teams like the weather changes. I don't think he'll stay. Is and that is what frustrates me about this league in general, what it has become. I was listening to something the other day when it was talking about Greg Popovich, how long he's been with the Spurs, which is I think like over 20 some years.
Hmm.
And then it compared him to other coaches that have, been around the block in some. So it's like you don't see players like Larry Bird or Magic Johnson and things such as that stick with a franchise through and all. And so, yeah, I think he's gonna leave, unfortunately. When? I don't know. Just kind of the same way I feel about Joel Embiid. I think eventually he's going to leave sooner than later.
He's going to have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is, and
And
it would be devastating for Sixers fans. But I mean, they already know it. The writing's on the wall.
Yeah.
It's nothing. I mean, he's done saying the process. Obviously, that's gone. So we forget about that one. And then it becomes once again where it's like the rebuild. We just lost, obviously, coming into the NLCS. And I already played a soundbite when it comes to that one. But it's again, how much devastation can we take in Philly? I guess we'll see because who knows? Halfway through the season, this team could be dismantled. I mean, Nick Nurse, he knows he's got quite the challenge in front of him. Hopefully, we'll see on Thursday night, tomorrow night, how the Sixers end up faring out. But I don't know. I just there's a lot of moving parts with a lot of different teams. With the Sixers right now, they're trying to do the best in that organization and keep everybody happy, keep everybody together. I hope so because there's a pretty good nucleus there in Philly. I'm just hoping that they don't just blow it or guys just get to the point of frustration, but like, you know what, I'm not playing. And to me, it's not right. In NBA, that's something you can't say. You can't say you're going to sit on the bench, and then when you come off the bench, like I'm just going to hear. All right, I'm good. Who else?
hey,
Next.
hey, let me tell you something, man. The way that Coach Mac talked about the NBA, I talked to my buddy Norman today about that. I was like, man, we don't have any alpha males
No.
coming out anymore, like the Larry Birds and the Magic Johnson and the Michael Jordans, and you can
Mm-mm.
just go down the line to where you say like, hey, I'm gonna be watching Reggie Miller pull it up tonight, or I'm gonna be watching Bird and Michael. You don't have that. You don't have
Mm.
those type of players anymore. You don't. It used to be like, oh, I'm going to watch LeBron do his thing tonight, but we know LeBron is getting up in age. I'm going to watch Chris Paul.
Mhm.
Or I'm going to watch Kevin Durant. We just, the NBA is not that type of league right now. You don't have those players. You know, uh, Stephen Curry, he's getting up in age to where,
Mhm.
have we seen his best? Maybe so. So we need to get some new players. Murray is stepping his game up. We looking at Booker. He's stepping his game up, and Joker is stepping his game up. But other than that, we don't have too many. Too many people,
Mm-mm.
like we used to say, that we want to just turn on the TV and watch an NBA game and see the top players go at it anymore.
Oh no,
Yeah.
Ron, you sound so unimpressed.
I am. I am. I am. I, I'm telling you
All
how I really. I'm telling you how I really feel.
just all
Say it
I
with your
hear
chest,
is
Ryan.
Well,
Say it with your chest, Ron.
before we end the show, I know, Ron, you had an update as well as far as when it came to James Harden.
Well, James Harden came back to the team today in Philly, but it's still up in the air about what he's going to do. We're going to hear another update tomorrow, but he is back with the team. So that's, I guess we can give him a big hand. A big hand. He's back, but that's about it.
No,
Still a
no,
still a thumbs down for me.
exactly.
Ah,
we'll see how long it takes for them to actually get to a resolution. And I think that
That's
is the big elephant in the room is what's next?
Well, that's just it. But
Yeah.
again, if you already come with that mentality, that attitude that you don't want to play, what's the point? Because he's just gonna. What's the rest of the team going to do? You're going to go to all the other players. They're going to say, "Well, I don't want to get involved. That's got nothing to do with me. Let's talk about the game." It's just the way it's going to be handled. But if James doesn't want to be there, just listen. Let him give him his walking papers, or just say, "You know what? We'll just take dead cap space. There's nothing else we can end up doing. Here you go. You got your wish. We're going to pay you until you go to whatever team. Enjoy it. Maybe we'll have another Bobby Bonilla day where you'll have $1 million for the next 25 years, as that deal's coming almost to an end." But who knows? Just let the saga just end because, man, we already dealt with Ben Simmons. That was drama enough. We don't need any more. I mean, it's
yeah.
just, God almighty. There's only so much you can take in Philadelphia, man. I love the city. You moved here to Tampa. Just because I moved out the city doesn't move out of me, folks. Let me make that very clear. Still very Philly inside of me, especially when I'm down this way. But I do take the Tampa mentality, where it's a little bit slower, a little bit calmer. But either way, I'm dying to see what's going to happen. Obviously, not much for my Phillies as they're out. Somebody's Astros are out as well. So join the party because that party's over.
that'll be me. That'll be
Woo!
me.
Go Rangers.
Yeah.
Oh, that'll be her. That'll be her.
Yes. I am winning.
Who? Okay. Did anyone think Bruce Bochy? Look what he did with the Giants. Come on, what a turnaround! Not only that, listen, my hats off to Arizona because last year 51 and 111, excuse me. To turn that around,
Man.
to now go to the World Series, that's a lot. You believe in each other that much. And they
Yeah.
struck lightning and they struck it in Arizona and told Philly, sorry for your red October, but now it's dead October. I know there's a lot of fans who are upset, but regardless, it's over. Good season overall. I still think they did an incredible job to get back to the NLCS. It's really hard to do it back to back years. They just came up short, no matter which way you look at it. So, nonetheless, we have, I guess, the Rangers and the Diamondbacks to look forward to in the World Series. But I would like to see the Rangers actually win it all.
Me too. They've had some tough years,
Me
so
too.
I think this is definitely going to be a great year, breakout year for them, and a year that's needed.
Yeah,
So
I think so.
They
And
beat the Astros, so I hope they win it all.
can't beat them, join them, huh?
Yeah. It makes
Why
it
not?
hurt less is bad, huh?
Why not? Why not?
true. Oh, well, it happens. But we'd like to thank once again for the entire team being here this evening. Again, Coach Mack, Coach Johnson, Ron Briscoe. Thank you to Coach Fernandez for taking time once again to come on the show. We do appreciate it, and we hope to get him again sometime during the midseason. We know he's extremely busy, and I thank him for coming on for the minutes that he gave to us because it was a lot of fun. And with that being said, don't forget again, next week, Martinez and Company fires up Monday through Friday from 6 to 8 p.m. following Tony Bruno on the Tony Bruno Sports Network. That should be fantastic, which again, it's just going to make my day even longer, but I don't care. Again, I love it. This is what I do. And so thank you, everyone. Thanks to my lovely producer once again over in Studio B, and for everyone joining us here on Sports Radio 102.9 FM The Game, over on AMP Radio, right over on broadcastsouth.com, and on YouTube. And don't forget, if you have not liked and subscribed to our YouTube page, please do so. I get $0 out of it. The only thing I have to do is at least get another subscriber just to say, hey, thanks for joining us. So thank you to everyone. We will see you all next Wednesday. Everyone be safe. Any last words?
Go Lakers.
Go Rangers and go Mavs.
Did I hear go Lakers?
Yes, I'm still rooting for that team.
All right. Well, everyone,
I'll see y'all
enjoy.
next time.
Yes. We will see you all next week.